Hello guys and welcome back to another Halloween video. Well, it's almost the start of the Halloween season, or if you're a haunter, the season has just begun and stores are beginning to get their Halloween decorations in. This definitely is the case for Spirit Halloween as stores are opening up now, including the flagship store recently. And while my store doesn't open until the 19th of August, all of Spirit's animatronics have officially been revealed. So what better way to start the Halloween season by me ranking all of the Spirit Halloween animatronics? Yes, all 23 that I made a sneak peek for, which includes online only animatronics as well. Now in the past I've made a top 10 video for Spirit in 2018 and last year. However, this year I'll be ranking each animatronic from worst to best. So even though I haven't seen them in person yet, I'll be judging by how they look, what they do, and if it's a good value overall. And of course, this is all my opinion. So please don't spam my comment section if my ranking is different than yours. But with that out of the way, sit back, relax, grab some snacks, as we take a look at my ranking of all the Spirit Halloween 2020 animatronics. My least favorite animatronic for this year is one that a lot of people agree on, with some of them saying that this is the worst Spirit Halloween animatronic of all time, that being Johnny Punk. Yeah, not a big surprise for a lot of people. I agree on how this is the worst animatronic for this year. Now look, Spirit wanted to do something different, which they've been doing for most if not all of their animatronics this year, which good job for doing something that we've never seen done for animatronics. However, that can't be said for this one. Spirit tried to make it look modern looking, which in my opinion looks okay, though I do like the vintage looking clown mask that he is wearing, but everything else I really don't like. It doesn't look like he'll swing that much, but maybe he'll swing better if you attach the mechanism better. But the main complaint that I have, which includes everyone else, is his voice. Yeah, it's bad. He just sounds like an annoying brat, which is the best way to describe his voice. It just comes out of annoying. His phrases aren't even better, which don't even sound good, and his pretty high price of $160. He's just not worth it. Now I don't think he's the worst Spirit animatronic of all time, but he is definitely the worst prop this year. Next on the list is Angeline. Now if you have watched my sneak peek videos this year, I talked about how creepy children animatronics aren't really that scary to me, so it's not my thing. They have to be done right in order for me to be interested in them. But as it is right now, it's not my favorite type of Halloween character. Plus, there are two more of the same idea that are also being released this year, but we'll get to them later. Anyway, I think the biggest disappointment for this animatronic and the reason why it's so low on my list is because of her looks. It just doesn't look right to me, and it looks more like a doll face than a child's face, and when her mouth moves, it makes her face worse. The movement on her mouth looks very robotic and not very realistic, looking like the Seasonal Vision mouths. Even though this prop isn't made by Seasonal Visions, I think her mouth movement could have been better. Though I think the detail on the tombstone is pretty good with the cracks on it. I just wish the girl looked better and had more detail. Also, her price of $170 is overpriced and should have been lowered to around $140 or $150. So while this animatronic isn't for me, I bet there are people out there that like her. Number 21 is Red and Black Jumping Spider. Now technically this isn't a new animatronic, but more of a reskin of an older prop that's been sold for years now. However, I'm going to still include him since he is new for this year. Now out of all the different colors for the jumping spider, including the original black color, brown, and the UV jumping spider that was sold at Party City last year, this color has to be my favorite. Not just on how it looks, but the colors they chose. One of my favorite color combinations is red and black. I just like how the colors go well with each other. However, the reason why it's number 21 is because it's just a different color for an older animatronic and is the only difference that this one has. Everything else is the same as the OG one, and I already have the black color spider, so there really is no point of getting him. However, I think he'll still look cool in stores. But if you like the jumping spiders and you want to collect all the different variations, then this animatronic is for you. The next animatronic is Ellie Hatchet. This is the other creepy child prop out of the two that I was talking about. If you remember my video on her sneak peek, I said that while her idea was unique, it wasn't done right. I think the reason why I don't like her that much is because of how her animation is done. I was expecting the same type of animation as Rusty from last year, with her shaking her head up and down while holding her hatchet. But instead, all she does is swing her hatchet down, which to me isn't scary. Now this could startle people, but I think with Rusty's animation, it would have worked better. Also, I'm not sure why there isn't any blood on her, especially on the hatchet. If she's trying to kill people, then wouldn't there be blood on her from those people that she killed? It just doesn't make sense to me. I think her audio could have been better as well. Finally, she costs $160, which for me is a really high price for her, since she is only 4 feet tall and only has one animation. Now there might be people who like her, but I think she should have been an adult rather than a child, which would have made the prop a lot more scarier. Next is mommy's favorite. This is the last killer child animatronic for this year, and was also the first one to be revealed out of the 3. I think the idea of this child killing her mother is pretty disturbing. However, I feel like not a lot of people that see her think she did that. Now if you listen to her first saying, she says that her mother has been sleeping for a long time, which of course means that her mother is dead. But I think giving her a knife with blood on it with her holding it behind her back, that would have made her story make more sense. I feel like that is a missed opportunity that I wish Spirit added, and unfortunately you can't put anything in her hands, as they aren't posable. But even with that complaint, I think her price of $100 isn't that bad. Now you might think that might be a lot for a 3 feet little girl, but compared to Spirit prices this year, it's not that bad of a deal. So even though she's my favorite out of the 3, there are a lot better animatronics this year. Number 18 is Wailing Phantom. Now like I said in my sneak peek on him, this guy was first revealed at the Halloween Party Expo earlier this year, and he was also the first animatronic to have the new LCD eyes. I really like the idea of props now having digital eyes now, as you can do so much more than just regular light up eyes. For this animatronic, his eyes move around, which look cool. He also rocks slowly back and forth, while he moves his mouth and head. You might be wondering why he's number 18, and it's because of 2 things. The first reason is his ridiculous price of $350. That is extremely overpriced and I don't understand why he's that expensive. Sure, he has 3 animations and with the LCD eyes, but there are a lot better animatronics that have a much better value than him. Plus, he isn't even exclusive to Spirit. He's being sold on other online Halloween stores like Halloween Express for like $50 less. So if you want this guy, I suggest getting him on another website that sells him other than Spirit, as you would save a lot more money. But as for me, I think he's a fine prop. Next on the list is Sewer Varmint. When we first saw a glimpse at this guy on the Something is Terrifying teaser video, some people, myself included, thought that it was the dog from the movie The Thing. That would have been cool as we never gotten a licensed Thing prop. Unfortunately that wasn't the case and instead the animatronic is a giant mutated rat. Now this rat looks a lot like the Cerberus animatronic from 2015. It even has the same animation as him. Now I'm not the biggest fan of taking an old animatronic and pretty much give it a new look, though they really don't do it a lot more than they used to for the past few years. So this guy I'm fine with. The detailing on the faces look nice, which not only serve their look, but also give it more functionality. This animatronic is fog machine compatible, so when you hook up one, the fog will actually spew out of their mouths on both heads. So while the fog isn't necessary, it definitely adds to the tone of the prop, and his price of $130 isn't terrible. Overall, while it's not the animatronic that I thought it was going to be, it's a good prop nonetheless. The next animatronic that we'll talk about is Uncle Charlie. Now if you don't know, Spirit started a new thing called Flashback Fridays, where they bring back old props from years ago. There were 3 total this year, and the first one they released was Uncle Charlie. Before Uncle Charlie was revealed, people were begging for him to return ever since he was released in 2010. and it looks like Spirit listened as they are bringing him back this year. However, I think they could have done better with him. I think that most people can agree that he doesn't look scarier as the original model. The reason I say that is because how his face looks. I really like the more creepier grin on the original one than with the more cartoonish look on him now. Also, I feel like the original had more detail on him, though the inclusion of the mouth movement in the new model is a nice addition. His price is okay, but I think he should be $200 instead of $210. But overall, I really wish he was done better. Number 15 is Miserable Marie. This prop was revealed along with another animatronic, which was Punctured Pete. Both animatronics are related to each other, since they are both couples. However, they both do different things. What she does is slowly rocks in a circle, kinda what Twitching Banshee did a few years back. Now that's her only animation she has, but I'm cool with that since it looks really creepy. And when she does move, she makes creepy groaning sounds, which is nice. Also, I really like the detail on her face with her black soulless eyes, and we don't even get a lot of green toned skin for zombies. The one thing that I don't like about her is her price of $170. That's a lot for what she does, and she should have been at least $130. However, I still like her and she'll look great when I see her in stores. Next is actually the second animatronic that was revealed with Miserable Marie, the being Punctured Pete. With him being higher on the list than Marie means that I like him more. There are several reasons why I like him more than Marie. First, I like his animation. Unlike Marie, who has slow moving animation, this guy jerks around as if he's trying to free himself from the stake that he is being impaled by. I really like it and it looks pretty realistic. He also has red light up eyes, but I prefer the non-light up black eyes that Marie has. It just looks much better than the normal red eyes that props usually have. I also like the sounds he makes as they sound really good. Now I do wish Pete had more detailing. There should be more blood on him where he got impaled at, and his clothing could use a little more detailing as well. I feel like Marie's detailing is a little bit better with her cool green face and blood on her dress. However, both of them cost the same, that is $170. Like I said with Marie, they should have lowered the price to around $130, and that goes the same with him. But overall, if I had to choose between the two, I would have to say Punctured Pete, but both animatronics are still great. The next animatronic we are going to talk about is yet another zombie animatronic. I promise that this is the last zombie animatronic for this year. But anyway, next is Flesh Eating Zombie. This the second Flashback Friday animatronic. The original model was released in 2011. Now, like Uncle Charlie, Spirit updated his look and also gave him a moving mouth. I do like how they gave him that. However, I still like the original face better. It was better detailed and looked scarier in general. I'm pretty sure the older one was made out of plastic, while this one is made of latex, since it has a moving mouth. Now it looks a little bit better than Uncle Charlie's face. However, sometimes the faces can become deformed, so some of the faces look weird. I really hope this isn't the case, as it can ruin the animatronic's scariness. Also, his price of $200 isn't that bad, as the original costed $170, so they really didn't raise the price that much. Unfortunately, he will be online only. I'm hoping that someone gets him and shows him in a video, so I can see what he looks like. Number 12 is Clowning Around. This clown is similar to the clown animatronic that hold children that we've been getting for the past couple years. However, this one is a little bit different, as instead of holding one kid in his hand or in a cage, this clown is holding two kids. I really like how both of them have hyper-realistic faces with their terrified expressions. Also, they both move differently. The green shirt girl moves her head up and down, while the other girl moves her body up. Her animation looks a bit weird to me than the other one in my opinion, but it's not the worst animation ever. The clown moves his body and head side to side and his mouth moves also. So yeah, he has a lot of animations. Next, I really like his looks. This clown has a vintage look to him, just like Waving Wally last year. His black and white pattern on his clothes look great, as well as his face. I really just like vintage looking props in general, as they can be unsettling if they are done right. Now, some people have mixed opinions on his voice. And for me, I actually like his voice. It sounds like a clown you would find at an old carnival. Not much clown has that voice that he has. Usually they sound the same to me. However, he has a pretty high price tag of $300, though he does have a lot of animations and he is 7 feet tall. He's also an online only prop as well. So while he won't be in stores, I think he's still a pretty good animatronic. The next animatronic on the list is the Gatekeeper. This is the last Flashback Friday animatronic for this year. This prop was a surprise considering not a lot people thought that this guy was going to return. For my sneak peek on this guy, I said that this guy shouldn't been released since there wasn't any major changes to him. However, I missed one pretty big change about him, which is that he has more sayings. The original model only had 1 saying. The newer one adds 3 more, plus the first one. Also, I think his voice sounds a little bit different, but I'm not sure yet. There are other smaller changes like adding volume control to him, but other than that, those are the only changes that I've noticed. So I do like him better than before, and the price isn't bad either. The only downside of this guy is that he'll be online only, which is sad because I really want to see what he looks in person. Overall, he's my favorite Throwback Friday prop they released. Now we are getting to the top 10, and the first animatronic to start it is Fright in the box. Here is yet another clown animatronic for this year. Basically, it's a giant Jack-in-the-Box toy that reveals a scary looking clown. I'm surprised that Spirit hasn't made something like this before, as some people think that Jack-in-the-Boxes can be scary. I think the look of the Jack-in-the-Box looks pretty cool with the skulls on the sides of it, so you know it's no ordinary Jack-in-the-Box. One of the coolest features besides the popping action is how the crank turns. That's a really great idea and it adds to the creepiness of the prop. The clown looks cool with his frighting mouth and big red bow tie. Now I do wish there was a little bit more than just a head. They could have shown a little part of his body then just cloth underneath it. Like I said earlier, this guy's main function is his popping animation. He actually pops forward then just popping straight up. It looks like it will pop up pretty fast as well. Now my only complaint about him is his price. He's pretty pricey at $210. I feel like he should be at least $200, maybe even less. However, he's still going to be a pretty cool prop when we see him in stores. The next animatronic is Peekaboo Clown. This is the second prop this year that is using the new LCD eyes, which is probably my favorite use of the new technology. Basically, this clown hides his eyes with his hands. Then he moves his arms out of the way, revealing his eyes, which show a spinning colorful whirling motion. I really love how it looks and it looks like it will work pretty well. His voice sounds alright. It's not bad or anything. It's just an okay voice. And like I said earlier, not only does he cover his eyes, but he's also in a hunched position. And when he reveals them, he stands straight up. That's such a cool idea and adds to the animation that he has. So in total, he has 3 animations, plus the LCD eyes. That's not bad, considering he costs $220, as I thought he would be more expensive because of his eyes. Overall, while we've been getting a lot of clown animatronics this year, this clown is probably the most unique out of all of them. Next is the Hauntress. I really like the idea of this animatronic. We never gotten a prop that pops from the side before. Usually they jump up or forward. With this, you can really hide her behind a wall and definitely surprise people with her. Plus, the look of her is great, and while it looks very simple, I think it works well with her considering she's supposed to be a ghoul creature. I especially like her face, with the open mouth and her black eyes. She has a creepy cloth looking clothes on her, which looks nice as well. And when she pops from the side, she makes a screaming sound. Also, on the description of her on Spirit's website, it says that with a quick flip of a switch on the attached mechanism, you can decide if she'll pop out from the left or right side. Now I'm curious how that's actually going to work and if it's really that simple to do so. Finally, she is one of the most affordable animatronics this year, as she'll only cost $120. That's a very good price for an animatronic that pops, and because of that, I think she's going to be a good seller this year. Number 7 is Little Daisy and the Maestro. This prop is really unique and something that I wouldn't have thought. Basically, it's a maestro that transformed a child into a marionette. That's very creepy, but I think it's very cool. You can tell the horror of the little girl with her lifeless face, as she's being controlled by this man. And when the maestro's arms move up and down, she moves side to side, and the control thing lights up blue, which looks like it'll illuminate the girl in the dark, which is going to look very cool looking, I bet. Now let's talk about the maestro. First, his face. Now when I first saw the face in the teaser video showing the animatronics this year, well, first we didn't know what he was. Some people thought he was a vampire or an elf, and a lot of people, including me, thought that the face lacked detail and looked very plain looking. However, now that we know what he looks like fully, I think it looks great now, and you can see, at least for me, that he has some detail on him. I especially love the smile looking face he has, as he looks like he loves what he's doing with the little girl. Now he does have a pretty high price tag of $300. However, I think it's worth the value. Maybe if they lowered the price a little bit, but I think he's a great prop for what you get. The next animatronic on my list is the Plague Doctor. Man, what great timing they did for releasing this guy. But all jokes aside, I'm so happy that we are finally getting a Plague Doctor prop. Now we have gotten smaller Plague Doctor props, but they usually hang. But for us to get a life size, it's crazy. Unfortunately, he is a static prop, so he has no animation. That's not a bad thing, just wish he had some sort of animation. I love his looks with his robe that he wears. He also holds a giant skull cane, which looks sick looking. He doesn't just stand though, you can hook up a fog machine, and the fog will blow from his head. That's so cool and shows that he is in fact a Plague Doctor. He also has red light up eyes, and my favorite part of him beside the fog is that he makes disturbing breathing noises. And it's no ordinary breathing, it's hard, deep breathing, which sounds super creepy. However, there are two complaints that I have with him. The first being that he is online only, which is such a bummer because I really wanted to see him in person. But maybe due to the pandemic going on, it probably wasn't a smart idea to have him in stores. The other complaint is his price of $230. That is super expensive, and while he is 7 feet tall, he doesn't come with a fog machine. If he did have a fog machine included, I could understand the price. But if didn't have a fog machine, he should have been at least $200 because of that. But overall, this guy is still an amazing prop, and I'm so glad we finally got a Plague Doctor life size. Alright, now we are getting down to the wire with my list, and number 5 is the Butcher. When we first had a look that we were getting some kind of prop in the teaser video, a lot of people were curious what this was going to be. However, most of them said some kind of a guy wearing a pig mask, and they were right. We don't get a bunch of Butcher props, which is a shame since a lot of haunted houses have some sort of slaughter room. And for him to wear a pig mask is really cool. He is very detailed, and you can see the stains on his apron and the blood on his shirt. I especially like the look of the pig mask with his creepy eyes and sharp pig teeth. This animatronic has one animation, which he turns side to side. It would have been nice to have another movement, like maybe him moving one of his hands up and down. But his animation he has isn't terrible. I like his sayings, especially when he makes pig noises. That's really cool and makes him think that he is a pig maniac. Now he does cost $200, but that's usually the price for 6 feet tall animatronics at Spirit. But maybe he should have been a little lower since he has one animation, though it's not that bad of a price. However, with his price being his only complaint, I think he's a neat animatronic. Next is Miss Mercy. This is such a disturbing animatronic. Usually, most animatronics that Spirit sells don't really scare me, but she definitely accomplishes that. Like the Butcher, it's been a long time since we had a nurse animatronic. In fact, this is probably the best nurse animatronic that we've gotten from Spirit. It's a creepy nurse who looks to being possessed. You can tell that she is possessed as she spins her head around, and when she does, it makes cracking noises while she laughs. I think without the cracking noises, it wouldn't be as scary, but with them, it definitely adds how disturbing she actually is. She also moves her body side to side, which of course isn't as scary as her head movement, but it's nice they added something else other than that. Her head looks creepy too. She has a bandage wrapped around it, and you can actually make the bandage cover her eyes or have them not covered. When they aren't covered, it shows that her eyes are closed shut, as if her eyes were removed. Finally, her price of only $200 is one of the most affordable animatronics for this year, as you get 2 animations with her. Overall, I think she is the most disturbing animatronic that Spirit has released in a while. The next animatronic is Harvester of Souls. This is a really cool concept that we've never seen before done at Spirit. Basically, it's some sort of vampire-like creature that is holding up a girl and sucking up the girl's soul. I really love the look of the creature with his big open mouth as he sucks the girl's soul. The girl looks great also and looks like her life is getting sucked out of her with her terrified expression. Now this guy only has 2 animations, which are the vampire creature lifting the girl and the girl's head moving up. However, that's not an issue, as there is one major feature of this animatronic that brings the whole prop together, and that is the fog. This is probably the best use of the fog feature for this year. The girl's mouth spits out fog from her mouth, and inside the ghoul guy's mouth is a fan. So when the fog is activated, the fog goes inside of him. That's so cool and it looks really great. Also there is a green light inside the girl's and ghoul's mouth, which illuminates the fog. Now the good news is that he'll be set up in stores, but the bad news is that it looks like most stores won't set up the fog function for him, which is pretty much necessary for him if you want that full experience. And speaking of fog, he also won't come with a fog machine, and that's kinda bad considering he has a high price of $300. So if you don't have a fog machine, you might have to get one if you want the animatronic to look good, because if he doesn't have the fog hooked up, it doesn't look like what he is doing. However, I'm pretty sure both with fog and without, he's still going to look great, and I hope my store eventually has the fog hooked up on him. My second favorite animatronic this year is Nightcrawler. He is such a weird animatronic, and I love it. It just looks so disturbing with his creepy long cloth on him and his huge gaping mouth, which is my favorite part of him. He's probably the most unique looking animatronic this year, since we don't get a lot of weird creatures. He's on all fours and has hands for his feet. He looks like a creature from the underworld. Also, I really like his animations he has. The first one is him popping his head up. It might startle some people since most of them don't know what he's going to do. However, I also really like his second animation, and it might be more unique than his popping animation. And what I mean is when he is resetting to his normal position, he moves side to side. It just looks so weird when he does it, but in a good way. Now his price is surprisingly reasonable, that he only costs $200. That's a really good price for what you get, since he looks like he's going to be big in person. Overall, he looks like he's going to be a great animatronic this year. And now, my number 1 favorite Spirit Halloween 2020 animatronic is Krampus. I can't believe we are finally getting a Krampus animatronic. A bunch of people wanted a Krampus animatronic since he's such a cool idea. And since he's considered a Christmas character, I wouldn't imagine Spirit getting one since they are a Halloween store. The general consumer would buy Halloween themed props like clowns, ghosts, or zombies. And they did an excellent job on him. His looks are from the 2015 movie, so he's officially licensed. Even though I haven't seen the movie, I've seen pictures of him from the movie, and he looks just like from the movie. He has the chains on him, which they are bells on them as well, and his horns on top of him, which look great. I especially love his face and how detailed it looks with his crazy mouth, his long beard, and goat eyes. His hands looks huge, which his left hand has the ring from the movie, so you definitely know he's from the movie. And if you look near where his legs would be, you can see a hoof sticking out, so you know that's no ordinary human being. Now this animatronic only has one animation, which he moves side to side. I do kinda wish he had at least one other, like maybe move his head or his mouth. Probably my favorite part of him is the sounds he makes. You can hear him making growling and howling sounds while chains are clinking together and some jingling bells. There is also a little bit of the soundtrack playing in the background as well. I didn't expect him to have all that noise playing. Now unfortunately, I don't think most stores will set him up since he's massive and his setup might take a long time. Plus, he's most likely a replacement for animatronics that are sold on display. He's going to be the most expensive prop in the stores, as he'll cost $350. Now that may be overpriced. However, he's almost 8 feet tall and has great detail. Overall, my thoughts on him: I think he's an amazing prop and definitely deserves the #1 spot for this year. And there you have it, my ranking of all the Spirit Halloween 2020 animatronics. To wrap up my video, I want to say that this is one of Spirit's best years in a while, possibly the best year. It goes to show you that even though we're in a global pandemic and theme park Halloween events like Halloween Horror Nights not happening this year, Halloween is not cancelled and will continue to go on. But what are your thoughts on Spirit Halloween 2020? What is your favorite animatronic this year? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below and make sure to like my video if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.